name is Ben Schaub, and the article that I chose was Shakespeare in the Bush by Lauren Bohannon. And within this article, um, Lauren Bohannon is an anthropologist who tells the story of Hamlet to the Tiv people in Africa. She thinks, throughout this article, she thinks that everyone will understand the story the same way that she does, but instead, people explain the story using their own beliefs and cultural traditions. Basically, the overall main idea is that people understand stories differently depending on their culture. Discuss how the article illustrates how impact worldview. This article shows how a person's worldview affects how they understand things. When Bohannon talks about the ghost in Hamlet, the Tiv people don't believe that it's a ghost like she does. They think it's like witchcraft or an omen because it makes more sense to their culture, which shows people that stories in not just one way, but they use what they already believe in to understand the stories that we have. Identify and analyze one of the. Okay, so one example for ethnocentrism throughout the article is how Bohannon assumes that Shakespeare's stories is universal and that everyone will understand the right way. But this shows that her culture's way of thinking is normal and better than others. But in her worldview, the Tiv people are misunderstanding the story, even though that they are interpreting it through their own culture. Reflect on how the story challenges notation through one's cultural values. The story challenges the idea that one cultural's values are normal or best because the Tiv people are confident in their explanations. They even correct Bohannon when she tells them the story. This shows what seems normal in one culture might not make sense in another culture's. No certain culture's way of thinking is automatically better than the next culture's way of thinking. Consider specific, unique norm and tradition in my own culture perspective. Let's see. So in the culture that I grew up in, one thing, being on time, is super important in my culture, and it shows respect. Maybe someone from a different culture being late isn't that big of a deal, but the way that I grew up and the way how my family works is we have a strict schedule that we stick to, and other cultures might think that that's unnecessary. This just shows how people from different cultures can judge the same behavior differently. Propose the best way to practice communication across incorporating insights. Okay. A good way to communicate across multiple cultures is to listen and not assume that your way is right. Within the article, Bohannon learns that instead of correcting the Tiv people, she should try to understand the way they see the story and look at it from a different point of view. Ask questions and be open-minded helps people communicate better across different cultures. Relate a personal experience or observation. Example. Okay. One culture misunderstanding that I've seen personally, my personal experience, is the different ideas that they have of personal space. Within my culture, it's normal to have a personal space bubble when you're talking to other people, and it's uncomfortable or just not ethically right to be super close to them or in their comfort zone when you're talking to them. But to other cultures, that might seem normal. Someone could have a conversation with you in a different culture but be completely up on you in their personal space, but that's their way of showing respect, I would say. And it's just different depending on what cultures are. The different cultures, it's just different, the way they see it and the way they treat it. But overall, I would say the most important lesson from Shakespeare in the Bush is that culture affects the way that different people see the world. This article teaches us that we should not assume our way of thinking is the best way, especially when communicating from different people in different cultures. Thank you.